Money comes in, I have this split, I have profit, I do one of these. So how I'm managing my money is being very, very, very specific about it. When money comes in, I do 12.5%. Do a different color. Be easier for you guys to see. You're fine. I go 10% goes into a wallet for development. Dev for short. Development is anything I need to actually run the business. So think of like a subscription. From this investment, all of the profit is over here. You want to know what I do with my money, how I grow it. You want to know how I'm managing. So guys, what I want to do today is I want to give you guys the opportunity to ask some questions. I've been doing a lot of very, very, very topic specific calls, which are great. You guys have had some great questions, but I really want to know where you guys are at with your business. Kind of what is the natural next step? So post them in the comments for me. I'm going to hit them in order. We'll do this as efficiently as we can. But one of the things that I stress daily, one of the things that is important to me, one of the things that I attribute the majority of my growth to is being very, very, very intentional about growth. A lot of times we get caught up with families and with work, and like my truck didn't start this morning and blah, 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 blah. There's all of these things that will distract us from being intentional about growth. And a day turns into a weekend, turns into a week, and we stop growing. So every day, every morning, what I do, and then on Sunday, before the start of a new week, what I do is I am very specific about what do I need today from a growth standpoint. What do I need today? And I ask myself that question. What I do is I get clarity on that and I get movement on that before I start or before I end my day. Okay. So if it's 10 o'clock at night and I have not gotten clarity on that, I do not go to sleep. I do not pass go, do not collect $200. And I think people lose that. They stop asking themselves the question of what do I need today? What do I need today? If you don't know, you'll just run around with it like a chicken with their head cut off. Okay. Here's a great thing. If you don't know, ask one of the mentors in here. If you guys are in Axiom, ask the mentors. If you're in Ascension, ask the mentors. But we stop growing because we're not intentional about writing it down. Today, what do I need? And then what I do on Sunday is I ask myself, what do I need this week? And then on the 31st or whatever, I ask myself, what do I need the next month? Guys, without clarity, you literally just run around. You just run around guessing and you scroll, and then you start getting into this habit of, let me just check out YouTube. Let me just do this. Let me just do that. What do you need specifically? What moves the needle for you? Now, some of our programs like Axiom is very step-by-step. It's very methodical. You shouldn't have a whole lot of questions on that, but if you do, you ask. Does that make sense? Forward. Hey, cool. So guys, I want to answer some questions, and I want to make sure that you guys get the opportunity to get the clarity you need for this weekend. That sun, it's like right in the eye, right in the old cornea. It's just great. It's just great. Where are we at? What do we need? Come on, people. Come on. It's going to be the shortest coffee with a killer. There's road maps, right? It's almost like a treasure chest. So there's like this old school roadmap, and sometimes we have these little side missions or side quests. This might be coming to boardroom in July. This quest might be, I don't know, negotiating a deal. This might be blank. But we have this natural progression from start to finish. If you have absolutely no idea where you're going on this map, and if you have absolutely no idea what these steps are, these are all steps, etc. You're just screwed. You're just screwed. I don't want you to be screwed. We're focusing sending direct mail and calling, but don't feel like we're getting anywhere, so we're still on the right track. Okay? So this might be a pivot for you. With direct mail, for anybody that doesn't know, she's talking about real estate investing. I know that we have all industries here, but she's being specific about real estate investing. Samantha, you guys are wholesaling, correct? So on wholesaling, what we're doing is we're trying to get a hold of motivated sellers or sellers that are in a situation that we can provide a solution for. With direct mail often has to be sent 6, 7, 8, 9 times in a row to get that momentum and to get that traction. You might want to go a little bit more grassroots. You might want to go a little bit more organic. So this would be things like, this is relevant for everybody. So even if you're not in real estate, just listen for a second. So a lot of the stuff that I do, I call it organic market domination. Guys, while I'm doing this, let's get some more questions loaded up. So a lot of times I'll do something like, and this is all stuff that you can do in addition to direct mail, but I will specifically seek out property management companies. I'll make a list of them. I will call all of them. I will try to get a meeting with every single one of them, not the front desk girl or guy, but the actual manager or the actual owner. On the property management side, what I like to do is I like to see what problem I can solve for them. These guys have a major problem. Property management companies, it's called churn. Churn is the loss of reoccurring revenue that they get because most of these guys charge 8 to 10%. Churn is the loss of revenue. It's 8 to 10% a month. 8 to 10% a month is what they charge. The churn is the lack of revenue that they are getting every single month. Okay? So churn is a big deal for them. This is how their businesses are built. Any sort of like subscription-based business or anything that has any sort of residual income, churn is going to be a massive issue. So when I'm calling these property management companies, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to solve a problem for them. Their problem, I know for darn sure, is churn. So I want you guys to think of they're managing all of these different properties for all of these different clients, and there's a bad tenant. The property is damaged, there's the hole in the roof, whatever, it got broken into, etc. That homeowner or that investor, there's a good chance that they're going to sell it. When they sell it, most of the time, these guys are not agents. Sometimes they are. A lot of times they don't go with the property management to sell the property. What if you could solve this solution? What if you could make their churn go down? Sam, you might want to go a little bit more organic, another organic, and this is good for everybody. What I call this is, I call these guys gatekeepers. And I did an entire training on, it was called Seduce the Gatekeeper. You can't say seduce, Jordan. So sorry. A gatekeeper is one person that has access to a bunch of people. I want you to think of a church. If you wanted to reach an entire church, who would you talk to? Post it in the comments. If you wanted to reach the entire church, who would you talk to? Pastor. If you wanted to talk to the city or have control over the city, that gatekeeper, who would you talk to? The mayor. So these are gatekeepers. Property management is the gatekeeper. They literally manage properties for investors. The next one that I really, really, really like is title companies. Title companies have the exact same thing. They do the exact same thing. It's the exact same scenario. How do they get paid? Title companies, how do they get paid? They only get paid if the deal closes, right? They only get paid if the deal closes. So these guys, imagine a judgment, imagine a lien, imagine a lot of back taxes, imagine the inspection report doesn't come back well. Title companies are losing a lot of deals because the buyers or the sellers are backing out. What if there was a backup plan? What if there was, hey, we've got somebody, her name's Sam. She actually works with and specializes in situations that are like this where the deal's a little bit wonky. Title companies are good. Agents can be Agents can be gatekeepers. They might be working with a lot of different clients. They can do expired listings. All of this is organic. None of this costs any money. And you can do this in between your direct mail and in between your calling. I'd actually rather call a gatekeeper where there's one per done is I went to the owner of a Facebook group that has 50,000 people. This is one person that has control over a multitude of people. And I said, hey man, let's just partner on this event. Why don't you invite your audience of 50,000 people? Rather than me trying to contact 50,000 people, I want to contact meeting you at the last one. One, multiple. So start thinking that way, guys. Property management, title companies, real estate agents. I really like the mayor's office. Mayor's office and people in the city council, they deal with a lot of different problems constantly. What if you just solved a problem for the city? When I've called them, they've been like, dude, we're really struggling over in this neighborhood. There's a couple vacant properties and we can't control them and it's making the neighborhood not safe, blah, 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 blah. Cool. You guys know that the city owns a lot of properties? Just solve a problem for them. Great question, Sam. I hope that I know I didn't list all of them, but I hope like this train of thought is helpful for you. What other questions do we have, guys? Cool. What other questions do you have? Again, these are primarily business related. I will answer some real estate questions, but if possible, let's do some business questions as well. That's a tricky question. We need to be a little bit more specific there. Let me hit the buyer one. The absolute fastest way, like if you're looking for a buyer very, thank you, Jennifer, very quickly, the absolute fastest way is to hit the phones. Again, it's not up here anymore, but I hit property management companies, I hit title companies, I hit real estate agents, and I ask them if they represent any clients that are looking to actively build their portfolio. The languaging to property management companies and title companies is very similar. The other thing that I will do is I will go to the property management company's website. I will look at the properties that they have listed that they are managing. I will look it up on the county site, who owns that property, and I will call them, or I try not to mail these guys, but I will mail them if I can't find them. But a lot of them have a company. I can find it on Facebook or on Google. I will call them. My friend, I noticed that you own properties. Looks like they're being managed by ABC Property Management Company. Just curious, man, are you actively looking to build your portfolio? A lot of times they say yes. Those are like the quickest, man. But like if I'm in a situation where I need a buyer quick, I will time block like 5 hours and I'll make 100 phone calls, dude. I'll make 150. I'll make 250 phone calls. No, next. No, next. Yes, done. That's how I roll. I'm trying to think of a good book for seducing gatekeepers. I don't know if I've actually read a good book on it. The term in itself is something that I came up with that I made up. The Go Giver is kind of like in the same realm. Kind of in that same realm. It's kind of that same mindset, but it's not specific to like seducing the gatekeeper. Art of Seduction, I think that's going to be in a different category. Title company didn't show up like we needed. My plan is to network with title companies and or property managers as a habit on a weekly basis. Absolutely. Close or be closed. What's in it for them? I haven't read those books. This is going to shock you guys. I actually don't read very much. When I do read, I will read a very, very small part of a book, get the general concept, and then I'll just run with that idea. So I read books to get ideas. Once I have the idea, I run with it. So there's a lot of misconceptions about readers are leaders, and like there's all of these weird sayings that we've adopted as a entrepreneur society that really aren't true. The other one is if you don't wake up at X time, you're not productive. Like there's all of these weird things. Like, if you don't work out, this is what I hate about it's like the masculinity. Not that I hate masculinity. There's this weird culture right now in the entrepreneur community where guys have to look a certain way. They need to work out every day. They need to be up at 4 o'clock. They need to dress a certain way, etc., in order to be considered successful. I do get up. That's just naturally up early, but that is just naturally what I do. I don't work out. I don't subscribe to a lot of the stuff. I read very, very, very little, and I have multiple multi-million dollar companies. So what if you just be you, and what if you just operate in your gifting, and what if you just pursue just bettering who you are instead of trying to be somebody else? You don't have to be me. I don't have to be you. Fanatical Prospecting is a good book. Love it. Grant Cardone, what would you ask a multimillionaire if you could ask him anything? I'm not even like talking about me. I'm just in general. What would you guys ask a multimillionaire if you could? What would that question look like? What advice would you want to glean from that conversation? Read and apply. Reading is just entertainment, which is okay if you aren't being changed or changing based on what you were reading. 100%. That's why a lot of times I only read a very, very small part of a book, and then I just go do stuff. What systems do you have in place to manage your cash flow? That's a good question. Systems do I have in place to manage my cash flow? There's a couple of them. I would say one of them is I have a really good CPA. I have a really good bookkeeper. I get P and L every single month. So bookkeeper communicates with me and communicates with the CPA, provides me with a P&L, provides my CPA with a P&L. This is how I keep track of everything and how I make sure that my businesses are moving in a direction that I need to. Literally shocking to me how many of you guys do not have P&Ls. Shit, some of you guys don't even have a bookkeeper or a CPA. This is the health of a business. This is like my 2.5-year-old had a checkup yesterday. Got to go to the doctor, had a checkup yesterday. What they did is they had a series of different things that they did to make sure that he was healthy. CPA, bookkeeper, profit and losses, items in a checkup to know if the business is healthy. Now, some of you might be saying, what the heck is the point of having a P&L if I've never done a deal? Doing a deal is not the entirety of your business. You also want to know what are your main expenses, where's your money going, etc. Also, one thing that I want to be very specific about, doing a deal is not the only way that your business can make money. Doing a wholesale deal, buying a rental property, doing a flip, whatever you guys are into, that is not the only way to make money. That would be considered one stream of income. What we did yesterday is we talked about, I've like 15, 18, 20, I don't know. I have a lot of streams of income. So if you're a wholesaler and you're like, I'm not going to do this because I haven't done a deal yet, you're like micro focused on this. What you need to do is zoom out. Maybe you need to invest $500 into something else. It's going to produce a return. And you might actually find out that at some point, wholesaling is not for you. According to my profit and loss statement, wholesaling isn't for me. But I'm making money over here, over here, over here, over here, over here, over here. My business is doing okay. This is like the temperature check of a business. Beyond that, I have an entire, you guys, this is not going to come as a shock to you. I do all of my banking right now is I'm doing it through gold. I don't know why more people are not doing the Havila method. You're trusting banks. I don't know why, but I have this entire flow where money comes in. I have this split. I have profit. I do one of these. So how I'm managing my money is being very, very, very specific about it. When money comes in, I do 12.5%. I do a different color. Easier for you guys to see. You're fine. 12.5% goes to liquidity. 12.5% goes to purchase gold. I go 10% goes into a wallet for development. Dev for short. Development is anything I need to actually run the business. So think of like a subscription, Wi-Fi, cell phone bill, blah, 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 blah. What we got here, I think there's like 65% left, something like that. 65% is invested. From this investment, all of the profit is over here. And that profit, I repeat the process again, all the way back at the very beginning. What I do with the gold, hey, you guys asked for it. You want to know what I do with my money, how I grow it. You want to know how I'm managing my cash flow. On the gold, because I have my own bank, what I do is I buy it. Remember, it was 12.5%. Every dollar that comes in, I buy gold. Okay. And then what I do is I lend gold. I lend myself the money. I lend it back to myself. Lend. It is interest only. And I take this money, I invest it. I invest it in a way where I cover the loan on the gold and make a profit. And we do this again. To go over anybody's head? Why you got a gold bank, Jordan? Because all of the banks are collapsing. Now I might be exaggerating a little bit, but some of the biggest banks in the world are collapsing. I really don't want my family to be reliant on somebody else that doesn't actually have your money. Let me get this straight. You've put all your eggs in a basket, and this basket is very, very, very shaky right now. The US, the dollar is tanking, inflation's through the roof, and what we're finding out is that banks have invested your money. They invested your money in a way that is not profitable, and the bank is going bankrupt. Okay, let me get this straight. That's the goal. That's the plan. You have no backup plan. What would you do? What would you do if your bank collapsed? Serious question. Put it down below. A CPA it's a high level. It's above a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper will compile the information and keep the books organized, and they provide that information to a CPA. A CPA will do like your tax returns. A good one will do tax strategy. They're kind of like a high level consultant. So my CPA will say, look, dude, right now your tax liability is pretty high. What we need to do is we need to go invest money over here or over here. If you put some money over here, it'll actually eliminate your tax liability. You'll owe zero in taxes. And I say, yes, sir, because I don't want to pay tax. That is what a CPA does, and it goes right into the tax stuff. How and when do you evaluate your KPIs? What does the process of providing or changing things that are failing look like for you and your business? Great question. Great question. I love that question. So guys, these are the high-level business questions that I really enjoy. I'll answer any question, but I really, really enjoy us thinking in a high-level way because I'm live in the business hub, not the real estate hub. I'm in the business hub. All of my calls in here are business related. This is for everybody. How and when do you evaluate KPIs? A KPI is a key performance indicator. Okay. It's an indication of key performance or lack of performance in your business. So I like to look at this stuff like monthly. Depends on how you're doing your marketing and how you're doing your campaigns. But typically monthly is really good. If not monthly, quarterly is probably okay. So I'm looking at, let's just do this. This whiteboard's getting a lot of use. You guys wouldn't know this or see this, but like there are big sheets. I'll just show you, whatever. There's like these massive sheets of paper, like all over in the conference room, all over in the offices. They're all over in the headquarters because we're constantly doing doing this. Okay. So when I do a KPI, I'll look at things like, let's just say you do a marketing campaign. Doesn't matter what the marketing campaign is. What I will normally do is I will split test. Split test is when you do two different things to see which one is working better. So I might do A and B. At the end of the month, I will look at which one had a better response. Not only better response, maybe B had a better response, but I made less money on it. And A had a less response, but I made more money on it. Okay. So I'm looking at the money. Man, what was the money? What kind of a response did I get? Okay. This is going to give me a cost. Call it a cost per. Okay. So we want cost per, I'll just say item, response, all of that. I'm looking for cost per response, appointment, offer, contract. So I'm looking for my cost per item. This would be like cost per letter if you were doing letters. This would be cost per phone call if you're doing phone call. Text if you're doing text. My cost per item, my cost per response. This is just simple math. If you're dividing, this is division. My cost per appointment, my cost per offer. Not every appointment's going to result in an offer. My cost per contract, and my cost per close. What this is going to do for me, it's the only thing I care about. It's the only thing I give a shit about, period, in business, is this thing that it's going to give me. If you know, great. If you don't know, I'm going to tell you. How about that? Josh goes over profit and loss weekly. So this is the only thing I care about. This acronym I made up. I know you can't see it. I get it. The only thing I care about is what is my cost to acquire customer. Josh, in your business where you own a food truck, let's say that you were spending money on flyers and you were able to determine what is the cost to get somebody to come to my food truck. Josh, you might determine that it's like $5 is what it actually costs you to get somebody, and your average order is 12. Okay. As an example, and guys, this is all KPI based, by the way. I'm still answering the question from Vivian. My cost to acquire a customer. You guys might find that it's like $1,500 to acquire a wholesale. Josh, this works for you in wholesaling if your average deal is $3,000 and up. Okay? It cost you $1,500 to get a $3,000 sale. Would you do that? Yes or no? Of course you would. If I knew this, man, I can duplicate the shit out of this, because then I just got to spend another $1,500 to get another $3,000. Do it again. Do it again. I can scale this. This is how I know, like, for those of you guys that haven't done a real estate deal, this is how we're getting to 3, 4, 5, 6 deals a month. Now, I want to be very specific. $3,000 is a very, 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 very low wholesale deal. Most of them, like our average is like 10K. It's way better, way better. So if it's 10K, would you spend $2,500 to get a $10,000 deal? Would you spend $3,000? Well, Jordan, I don't have $3,000. Better go back to what we were talking about on the marketing side and on the organic side. Yeah. Regardless of that, you still need to have this. I want you to imagine that you do a deal and you make $10,000. You have absolutely no clue what the KPIs were to get that deal, and you don't know what it would actually cost you to get another deal. So now you've got 10K and you're like, hey, I want to go do this again faster. You have no KPIs to tell you how to do it. You don't know if it would cost you $3,000, $5,000, $7,000. And then what you do is you waste all of your money trying to figure it out. This is why our cost per is really important. And if you don't have a cost, you need to be split testing and really determining, it took me blank to get blank. Okay. It took me 100 calls to get one deal. It took me 400 letters to get 10 responses. It took me 10 responses to get one contract. Let's say 2 contracts. It took me 2 contracts to get one deal. KPIs, baby. Not every conversation is going to get you an appointment. Not every appointment is going to get you an offer. Not every offer is going to get accepted. Not every accepted offer is going to close. We gotta know this shit. Cool. Is this helpful? Like, I love it. Taking notes. Note takers are money makers. I like that. I like it a lot. Guys, I've got time for maybe 1 or 2. CTAC, my friend, cost to acquire a customer. It's the only number that I care about. If you missed it or if you had to jump off, you can watch the replay. Most of my stuff, it was like 682. This is in Montana when I was wholesaling heavily. $682, and my average profit was 9,000 in Montana. I was able to scale that to the moon because I knew exactly my cost per item, my cost per response, my cost per appointment, my cost per offer, contract, and cost per close. When I branched out into Charlotte, North Carolina, I didn't have this. I had to start to determine it by split testing and just in measuring everything. You can't scale what you don't measure. Cool. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I've got time for maybe one call. How does CPA different than a financial advisor when it comes to tax preparation? It's a good question. It could potentially be one and the same. You're going to get what you pay for. Everybody good with this? Take a screenshot if you want. Screenshot that. Do it. If you don't know how to screenshot it, go back and watch the replay. Here's my qualm with most financial advisors. Most financial advisors are broke. This is why I don't do stock market. This is why I don't do anything like that. Because the guy that manages my stuff, my stock portfolio, he's an employee. He makes $20 an hour or $30 an hour or whatever. What stocks do you invest in, buddy? Oh, I don't. Cool, man, you're 20. You make a little bit over minimum wage and you don't actually invest. No, bro, no. Most financial advisors they're very, very, very traditional. Here's the problem. They're very traditional. They do not invest, or if they do, it's very traditional. A lot of these guys are not in real estate. And here's the big one. Most of these guys make most of their money on referrals. Okay? So when somebody is incentivized to tell me something that they don't do, I normally bail. This is not every financial advisor. This is the problem in general. If you get the right CPA and you really, 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 like, you got to interview these guys. So the guy, his name is Dan. Dan was a lot of money. It was a lot of money just to be consulted by him, and it didn't even include the tax stuff. Okay? This isn't no H&R Block. Dan is a published author. Dan was on the board that wrote the tax code. He's like on like the tax committee, so he knows everything about it because he helped write it. He speaks all over the world. He owns a shit ton of real estate. He's invested in alternative assets like I am. And in our initial consultation, when I interviewed him, he interviewed me. Dan's price point, this is what I really liked about him. He only really works with like high end clients. And he did not need my money. It was like he was vetting me. He told me no at first. Financial advisor, probably take anybody. Okay. So there is a difference here. If they're not where you want to be, like if you look at them and look at their life and look at whatever, you just look at them, look at their business, look at their life. If you wouldn't trade places with them, you should not be hiring them to advise you on something that is this important. Okay. Cool, man. All right, guys. You are loved. I care about you guys. I want nothing but the best for you. I show up and I do this for free. Now, I would love to meet you at our office. I would love for you to come to boardroom. I would really love to spend an entire day with you. Regardless, you don't have to pay me for me to give you value on this call, okay? I will do everything I can for you, everything in my power to help you guys build better businesses and create better investors. I love you.